Former President Donald Trump recently lashed out at Republicans for not further embracing his conspiracy theories about the 2020 election. Because, of course, that's the only thing that he's worried about. That's the only thing that he's focused on. That's the only thing that he's even able to ever talk about. So now, on Thursday, OAN reporter or host or whatever, Chanel Rion, interviewed the former president. And here's how some of that went.
President Trump says the covering up of some of the biggest stories in our lifetimes are driven by fear.
They don't want to have lawsuits. They don't want to have litigation. They don't want to go through subpoenas and all of the problems, all of the things that are so viciously being used. And they're really afraid. I see it with people that I've known for a long time, and all of a sudden they don't want to broadcast the truth. We don't have a free and fair press anymore, or media anymore. This is not free. And, you know, you look at communist countries, that's what happens. Nobody can talk. And when you can't talk, there's nothing to discuss. I used to say something, and I would say it was right, but maybe it was controversial, and they'd be hitting me. I'd be hitting them. You argue it out, and you win or you lose, but it's a point. Now they don't want to talk about it.
You're talking right now. Does he not know that he is literally talking to other people? On media, by the way. You're not in communist China. Okay, which, again, nowhere even close to being an authoritarian country in America. I mean, seriously. I'm sorry. This is just mind-numbingly stupid. Okay, he is talking. He's got a massive audience still, and massive support in the Republican Party. And yet, it's the same old song, same old song. Okay, and the problem, the real problem that he has, of course, is that the media, not that it's not free, or it's not fair, right? It's the fact that the media will not lie to his benefit. And I say that knowing that media does, in some cases, lie about certain things, and at the very least pushes different kinds of narratives. I know this. We all know this. Fox News, for example, pushes pro-Republican narratives. And of course, they have been caught in many lies. MSNBC also pushes pro-liberal narratives, and sometimes plays a little fast and loose with the truth as well. Now, progressives don't really have a media arm on cable TV, but we are largely online. But, you know, you kind of get the point. Everybody's got a narrative. Everybody has a perspective, and that's actually totally fine. Yeah, you're allowed to have a perspective. You're allowed to have an opinion. Great. Now, I think that you should base that opinion on facts, on factual information, and actual objective reality. Now, that said, Donald Trump, he's mad that the media itself will not take his lies and spread them around. And not only that, but he's extra mad, extra salty that the media decides to challenge him on his lies. Now, look, I wish they would do that for Joe Biden. I wish they would do that for other politicians. I wish they wouldn't do that just for Trump. I wish they'd do that for other Republicans as well. And so that's kind of the sad lesson of the last 4 years, is as soon as Trump left out of office, the media and everything kind of returned all to normal. And that's not good. Normal is kind of what got us here in the first place. So we've basically just been reset prior to 2016. And that just opens up the door for another Trump, unfortunately. That said, the big lie, and this is what he's talking about, the big lie, of course, threatens the foundations of our democracy, no doubt, voting rights, etc. Okay, if nobody believes in the outcomes of elections, you're not going to have a fair electoral system. And we've already had Republicans chip away at voting rights, instituting voter suppression, gerrymandering, all these different tricks to try to get less people out to the polls, because that is their objective. And also you have the Democrats' effort at restricting primary elections, making the rules incredibly difficult for example, a third-party candidate. or even an up-and-coming progressive to, compete in the Democratic Party, you've got real problems with our democracy. And so it's important to try to, expand democracy, expand voting, and do all that good things, all those good things. Okay. Now, the big lie, of course, as I mentioned before, threatens all of that because it threatens to basically make it so that nobody believes in the idea that our democracy even works. Even though we have problems with our democracy, it generally tends to work for the most part. Okay. There's that. Okay. And it's important for the media to call out the lies, to call out that big lie. Okay. Now, it is also important for the media, and again, going back to something that I wish it would do, is that it would not lie about policy proposals like Medicare for All or the Green New Deal. Those are also incredibly important to our democracy, to our country, to our people. And again, I wish the media, the establishment press, didn't lie about those things in order to push a narrative that is friendly towards large corporate donors. Again, one of the big problems in our democracy is that it happens to be bought. But it's not something that cannot be fixed. But anyway, that's just my spiel on the role of cable news and in large corporate media. But back to Donald Trump here. He's got more to say about Republicans in general. Let's take a look at that.
That's all people ask me. They say, what's going on in Arizona? They want to talk about the election fraud. The weak Republicans don't want to talk about it. The weak or stupid or RINOS, or call them whatever you want. And yet the voter, the Republican voter, that's what they want to hear. They want to hear about 2020. They want to find out, is that something that should be turned over? When they rob a jewelry store of all the diamonds and they get caught, you have to return the diamonds. They want to find out what's going on. The Republican voter wants this story. The weak Republican politician doesn't want to talk about this story because they think it's bad politically. I think it's great politically. I mean, look, either that, maybe I'll be wrong, but right now it looks like my poll numbers are higher than they've ever been. My endorsement, certainly every day I get calls from people wanting an endorsement. We've had, just over the last 2 weeks, we've had 5 or 6 elections, 5 or 6 to 0. I think we're 128-2 over the last short period of time. 128 wins and 2 losses. If Mitch McConnell fought in the Senate for election integrity, you would have lots of vetoes coming out right now out of the White House because you'd have a different president. But other than fundraising, he's very weak.
Yeah. So, all right. This is why what he said is basically why we still have to talk about this guy, okay? Because he's not going away. Even if you ignore him, the guy's not going away. And unfortunately, has an incredibly large share of the Republican Party that is still on board, okay? And they want to hear about this. They're the ones that want to hear about the so-called election fraud, okay? And, of course, the reasons that they want to hear about it is because, well, it's because Trump wants to hear about it. He spent months preparing for his loss, screaming about non-existent voter fraud, years calling the media fake, and then used his platform to punish his enemies on Twitter when he was there, when they call you out. That's why Republican voters want to continue to hear about it, because none other than the outcome that they desire will ever be enough, will ever be the actual truth. Okay? No studies, no commissions, no facts, no audits, no recounts are ever going to sway them from what they believe. Deep in their guts, they know that the election was stolen from them. Okay? Doesn't matter what the facts are. All they care about are their feelings. They have all the feelings. So many feelings, y'all, and that's all they need. And they've been taught that is enough. And so the media, for right-wing media specifically, for clicks, politicians for votes and donations, they all avoid, right? They all avoid criticizing Trump and fall in line with Trump and pander to the feelings of the far right, because that's all that matters to them, is continue to get those donations, Media figures continue to get those clicks. Tim Pool's got to continue to, get his really build a second skate park or whatever from defending, the right wing and Donald Trump. And so these media grifters are going to continue to grift because they got to get the money. It's all about the monies. It's all about the monies. And so, yes, you pander to your audience. You don't give them the factual information because they're not going to believe it anyway. And so why not pander to them? I mean, again, if all you're into is making money, then obviously the best way to do it is to become a conservative like Dave Rubin, so-called conservative, or Candace Owens. Because you can pander to that crowd, you can tell them whatever they want to hear, and they will shower you with gifts and donations. And that's what's going on here. And so Trump continues to do that as well. The politicians, I say a lot of bad things about politicians, but let me tell you what, the politicians on the right aren't necessarily stupid, although there are exceptions. But there was, nothing, and they all knew this, that there was nothing that they could do to reinstall Trump short of a fascist takeover. And believe me, they did try. They did try. And so they will continue to support Trump as long as it means that they are going to get donations and re-elections. And so far, Trump is still massively in control of the party. His word carries weight. And so he has that base that is still incredibly loyal to him. And that's why, unfortunately, we're going to have to continue to deal with Trumpism in the party as it has taken over. Because it is the party. That's why Trump will continue to be a danger. Because his fans are a danger. Those voters are a danger. As long as they believe in him and the lies and all that stuff and give him status as a kingmaker, the party will not change. And they will continue to do what they're doing. And we will continue to always have to be watching out for the far right. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.